Welcome. I'm Janine Pettit, Girl Camping Ambassador, blogger, adventurous, podcaster, Chief Executive Officer of Girl Camper, and Executive Editor of Girl Camper Magazine. And I am here in beautiful, spacious skies campground down in Dorothy, New Jersey, Country Oaks, enjoying a picture perfect fall day. And I am here with Resa, our Girl Camper guide from Iowa. And we're going to be back in a minute, and she's going to tell us why she became a Girl Camper guide and why you might want to do the same. Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Resa Leppert, who is the Girl Camper Guide Manager. And we're going to talk to you today about what it means to be a Girl Camper Guide, why Resa not only took that post herself for Iowa, but ended up becoming the Girl Camper Guide Manager. A little bit of herding cats going on there. But before we get started, I want to thank today's sponsor and bring you this message.
You know that saying, work smarter, not harder? Yeah, let's do that. Introducing the Quick Pin Coupler from Curt. Quick Pin's innovative design allows for fast, hassle-free trailer coupling with just one pin, making it easier to use than traditional couplers. That's right. That means no more fighting with jammed levers or problematic hinging components that drive you crazy. It's safe and couples securely with an included pin and clip. Just couple it, pin it, and you're done. Quick Pin is made from high-strength steel and has tested weight ratings to ensure your safety. It's available to fit all standard trailer ball diameters, as well as a variety of trailer tongue beam sizes, including A-frame trailers. So tow smarter, not harder, and get on the road today with a Quick Pin coupler from Curt.
I want to thank our sponsors for bringing you the Girl Camper podcast and all they do to make girl camping available to so many people. So thank you so much, Resa. Thank you for coming on the show, and thanks for camping here with me.
Yeah,
Resa's
thanks
from Iowa.
Thanks for having me. I drove a long ways to get here.
Yeah, I rooked her in because we went to the Hershey RV show where you passed your level 1 training to
I
become
did.
an RV technician,
Yep, level 1. So that's complete.
and you're going to continue your training.
I am over the winter.
Yeah.
In level 2.
Yeah.
But we'd really like to share some stories about what it takes to be a guide, right?
It takes to be a guide. But before you can become a Girl Camper guide, you could be a girl camper.
Yeah.
And every girl camper has a story. And I find this so interesting. I find that some people come back though, lifelong or maybe camped as kids or a lifelong involvement in Girl Scouts and they lost that. Was this something that you enjoyed as a kid and came back to, or is this completely new to you?
No,
What's your girl camping story?
Well, my dad sold RVs. Yes, he sold RVs and we camped a lot. And he did a lot of showing off of those RVs in the campground while we're off camping. And then I was a
He
Girl
was selling
Scout.
while you were.
He was selling while we were playing. And we were, I was a Girl Scout. And I kind of got away from camping when I was a young adult just because life happens and you're focused on your career. And then I had my daughter and I was a single mom and camping. I wanted her to have all of those experiences that I had. So we started tenting it. And went on from there and got a camper. And then I found my husband, and one day he came home and he says, I saw this magazine and there was a women's camping group in it. And he says, I think that would be something fun that you would like to do. And I started camping with other women. I still camp with my husband, but I like to camp more than he does. So
Yeah.
that's
the
where I
story.
can do this. Yeah.
That's often the story. And what I love about that is that to be a girl camper doesn't mean you have to be a single woman. A girl camper camps with her husband, her kids, her girlfriends, herself. I mean, you're a woman who camps.
Yes.
Right.
And I became a girl camper, and there weren't a whole lot of events in my area at the time.
In Iowa.
And I'm in Iowa, and I actually met the Oklahoma guide at the time, and I was supposed to go to an event in Oklahoma. That was a long drive, and the campground flooded, so I never actually got to go. So I met, and you and I had met previously, and then
We met in Indiana
yes,
at a
yes,
girl camping event because girls belong to every group out there.
yes, yes,
So we met at a different group's event, and I
yes.
remember you because you had the cutest little setup there, and you were pulling a little homemade trailer on a Mini
With
Cooper.
my Mini Cooper, and I towed it all the way to Indiana. Yes, yes. And then
Here, I still have the pictures.
so do I. I just saw that trailer not too long ago.
Mhm.
Actually, somebody else bought it, but um, I wanted to camp with other women in our area, and there just wasn't anything. So
Mhm.
I went on the website. There's a section where you can express an interest in being a guide if there's no chapter in your area,
Right.
and I clicked and sent off my little
Mhm.
bio to Girl Camper, and
Oh, we picked you.
you called me. You called me.
We won't run over with people from Iowa, but I'm telling you, there's things that we want to find in a guide. So if our goal at Girl Camper was just to fill up the map and have a guide in every state, we'd be done tomorrow.
Right.
But there are
Right.
things that we're hoping that Girl Camper guides are bringing to the community. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today
Mhm.
because you possess those qualities. It does involve a level of leadership.
Yeah.
And it does involve sacrifice because you're at the campground, but you're the host. You are mentoring women. You are being willing to kind of give up some of the pleasures involved in a camping weekend for yourself because you're doing a little hand holding.
Yes. And sometimes more hand holding than others. You know, sometimes women come, they have been camping for years, and there's somebody else who literally just
Literally.
pulled her tent out of
Right.
her Walmart bag and needs help setting it up. I've done
Right.
that too. I've done that several times. Um, and the biggest thing that we're almost like a travel agent for our area.
Hmm.
When I host an event, um, it may be a themed event, or it might be everybody's just getting together to go camping. And leading up to the event, I say, "Does anybody want to go horseback riding? Oh, here's a place where you can go do that." Or you want to go to a winery? Oh,
Hmm.
here's some wineries in the area. Here's some links to it.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go kayaking? Here's a link to an outfitter.
So you're
I
really an ambassador for your state as well.
Yes.
You want to let people know because we're a travel group. So if I'm coming to Iowa, what's a must see? What's something I want to do? So you are considering that when you're choosing your location.
Yes.
And then you're also want to make sure that the experience for the women there is on the campground itself, but they have places to go once they get there.
Well, and the other thing that we do in Iowa, I'm not the only. I have 3 hostesses that also host events for me, and we
Mhm.
get together in the winter and we plan out our next year, and we divide the state into 4 quadrants because we want at least one event
Mhm.
in each quadrant, so nobody has to drive more than a couple hours to get to an
Because
event.
Iowa's big.
Iowa's a good sized state. I
Yeah.
mean, so we want to make sure that everybody has something they can.
So for you, what was the lure in becoming a girl camper guide? Because it is a bit of work. I mean, it's easy to just go camp yourself. There had to be something in you that wanted to bring this experience to other women.
I wanted to share my favorite places in Iowa because some of them are not, they're definitely off the beaten path.
Mhm.
My absolute favorite campground is definitely rustic, and it is a state forest. So it is not someplace that people would
Yeah.
normally go.
You're not from Iowa. You might not
You wouldn't
know
even know
about it.
you wouldn't even know about it. But the other thing is I wanted to make it a safe place for people to come and feel comfortable camping with people they didn't know.
That's such an important thing because my own experience with girl camping and just as picking it up again, because I grew up in a camping family and then raised my family, never went camping with them. And that siren call came back to me. I wanted to get out there. I didn't have a single who wanted to do it with me. I literally didn't have any friends that camp. So I needed to join a group. I needed to find people to do it with. So the very first event I ever went to, I didn't know a soul. And it can be hard to walk into a group and not know anyone.
Yep.
So if you have a guide and you're going with a group, you have someone to kind of introduce you to people and like you
Mhm.
said, help you set up your tent, let you know what you need.
And also make sure nobody gets left behind. that one person who maybe doesn't know anybody else at
Mhm.
your event. Okay, everybody's out going off to go on a hike. You need to make sure that everybody got invited, or at least got invited. They don't necessarily have to go, but it's nice to make sure everybody's included.
So your duties as a guide are to create events. You create events, and then each of our guides creates a Facebook group for each event. And
Yes.
this way, people are exchanging ideas and notes. Hey, and if there's like a potluck dinner, hey, I'm bringing
I'm
chicken. Somebody else is bringing chili. So
Mhm.
all that goes on, and that community building has started already. So you monitor those social media outlets
Yes.
with your group. So you're an event planner and you're a moderator
Yes.
there, and
Yes.
you're the host.
We also give a lot of advice. I get messages every day. Hey, I'm in the market for a new tent. What would you suggest? Yeah, and
Mhm.
and it's great to go through that selection process with people. Okay, what are you looking for? What are your needs? And here are all of the tents that I know of on the market. And then we can put the word out in our Facebook group. Hey, does anybody have a tent they love?
Yes, I was going to say it doesn't fall completely
It
on
does
you
not.
because now
It's a community
once that
effort.
community is built, but you're an event planner, you're a hostess, you're a hand holder, you're a mentor. And what kind of experiences do you see women have? I mean, you've seen women come in there like cold, don't know a thing. And
I just
tell me what it's like when you get out there and you're with someone who's just,
yeah, I
for
just
them, it's the biggest deal. Like, I made it, I'm here.
I just had an event where we were on an island in Lake Michigan. We had to take 2 ferries to get there, and,
Rustic camping.
very rustic camping. Literally, there's one set of flush toilets on the island, and it's a mile away. There are pit toilets being
I mean,
you
what,
know,
like,
closer. Pit toilets closer, but there was
mhm,
a lady who came, and she was a little nervous and,
mhm,
had never really used her gear much before. I think much of it had been a gift. And, she said, I didn't come the first day because I was nervous.
mhm.
And by the time we were ready to leave on Sunday, she stayed 2 more days all by herself.
All by herself, all by herself. That's crazy to me because she didn't come because she was nervous and the group was there, but she was immediately put at ease by
Yes.
all the women there.
Yes, and we had fun. We sat around the fire and
That's an annual trip you do, and we've
it
covered it
is
in the magazine where Resa takes people. What's the name of that state
Rock Island State Park
Rock
on
Island?
the tip of Door County, Wisconsin.
And you've got to take 2 ferries to get to the island, and they have wagons at the ferry where you can pull
Pull
your
your
gear to the campsite.
Yes. Yes.
Your pictures of you guys swimming right on lake there, camping right. The campsites were beautiful
Can't
there.
literally there's Lake Michigan right there.
But you're
Yep.
packing in absolutely everything. I mean,
Yes.
we're here in beautiful, spacious skies. I've had ice cream at the camp store today. We've sat and stuck our feet in the pool because it got kind of warm this afternoon. Like, we're not roughing it here at all. But
Well, and that's what the great thing about being a guide is. I went to that island with
mhm,
another friend, and I loved it so much. I'm like, who want other people to come
you're
here?
one
And
other people.
and there are people that came to that first event, and
Mhm.
they're like, when are you doing it next? They're asking before
Right.
we're done, when are we doing it next year?
That has a
That's what's
way
so
of
much fun.
happening with guides where people come,
Mhm.
they experience that, and it becomes an annual trip. So
Yes.
this was your second annual. You had it again this summer.
Yes. And it was actually my third time being there, but my second
Okay,
annual
so will there
group
be a
trip.
4th time? It'll be next
It
year?
will not be next year because I wanna do a different trip next year,
Okay.
but we're already planning it for 2026.
Okay, so, but I want to point out that every trip and every guide is different. We always say at Girl Camper, there's no wrong way to camp like a girl. So if you wanted to be a guide and that rustic camping wasn't your thing, if you were more classy, RV resort, let's get in the lazy river,
Yes.
no wrong way to camp like a girl. And you're the trip planner, so you could do whatever you want.
And sometimes I plan trips based around what the group wants. I'll put out a poll in our group and say, "Hey, has anybody ever camped in Northwest Iowa? Is there someplace you would like to go?" And
Mhm.
maybe it's not my first choice, but that's where the group wants to go, so we plan.
But
We
that's
make
an
it
adventure.
happen.
That's an adventure for you too.
It is. I've never been there.
Now they're taking you. Full
Yes.
circle.
Yes.
You know what? We're going to talk about what's on your bucket list in just a minute because we're going to have another message from one of our sponsors, and we're going to come back and talk about bucket list trips.
Curt Echo Mobile Brake Controller is a world first mobile Bluetooth brake controller that can give you an entirely new towing experience. It's easily plug and play into your RV wiring harness with no tools required. It connects wirelessly and syncs with your smartphone to control and monitor all trailer brake activities. Its compact, portable design allows for easy transfer from one vehicle to another and convenient storage when it's not in use. Check it out in a complete family of Echo units to find the best fit for your towing setup.
Again, thank you to our sponsors for all they do to make Girl Camper come alive, to help us get the message out there and get people out there camping at the campground. So you've done a lot of camping in your life, and you and I have had chances because I usually see you at least once a year. This year
Yes.
we're getting lucky because we attend the Girl Camper Camporee together.
Yes, every year.
And this year it's going to be in Grand.
I missed the first year because I wasn't a girl camper yet then.
And I missed last year because my aunt fell down and I was helping her take care of her. And so it's the first one I ever missed. But next year it's in Granby, Colorado. So a large amount of the guides come out there. And that's like so fun for us. I mean,
Yes.
I think we
Can
did
all
all
get together.
Yeah. In the Outer Banks, we had 17 Girl Camper
17 girl
guides.
camper
Yeah.
guides. 17 out of, I think we had 27.
Yeah. So that was a good showing. So we'll be there again. But bucket list trips. I mean, the girl campers do lots of trips. What is on your own personal bucket list?
My personal bucket list, and it's outside my comfort zone, is
That's the best thing.
a rafting trip. I've kayaked and I've canoed, but I'm not skilled.
Mm-hmm.
I can fall out I'm really good at falling out, but I want to go on one of the trips. I want to go on one of the big rafting trips.
Well, I'll tell you, it'll be out of your comfort zone the first time. Because in the first time I did we do a river trip every year, rafting down the river, sleeping on the shore, stars at night, no Wi-Fi. It's just I don't know, for me, I need that annual trip to just really check out a social media, check out and just really enjoy it. This past year, we did the Green River in Utah, which was really tame compared to our first river trip was the Grand Canyon.
Oh my goodness.
Class 5
Yes.
rapids where the boat goes down and comes back up and folds in half. And I'm like, but you know what? People go down it every day and they're just fine. And I just, when Lisa's doing it, I'm like, Lisa wouldn't put us on something. But we did sign a piece of paper that said we agreed to participate in our rescue if we fell off. You agree to rescue yourself? That did give me pause for a minute. But you know what? When that thing was over, two things happened to me. I found out I'm a lot tougher than I thought I was, right? So there was a lot of fear in me over that trip. And you have really got to trust the guides and the outfitter that you chose. So, and we choose very carefully at Girl Camper. And so I just had to remind myself, you know what? Do what they tell you. Try to lean into it, enjoy it, grow from it. And I got to the end of that thing and I thought, wow, really cool bragging rights because it's difficult. I'm not going to lie, that's difficult. The last 2 days of that trip are in the Mojave Desert and it was 115 degrees.
Oh my
But, you know, the river water is 58 degrees. So you're boiling or freezing. But anyway, I was so glad that I did it. And the following 2 years, we did the Salmon River and the Green River, and the rapids were much milder. I thought it was much more peaceful than the Grand Canyon trip. But I would encourage everybody to, even if it's not the river trip, to look at what's on the Girl Camper website.
Yes.
Because what's out of your comfort zone may be just like you said, camping on the island in a tent when you're used to the comfort of your RV and flush toilets and hot showers. That may be out of your comfort zone.
And I had never been on a ferry when I went on that first
Oh,
trip. I
gosh.
had never slept in a backpacking tent. I mean, I've camped in big family size tents.
Yeah.
So that was
that
was way
first
out.
time.
And now
A little tent.
it's old hat.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did want to talk about was about being a guide. You don't have to. It's my job as a guide manager to train our guides how
Yes,
to
you
do everything.
onboard.
Yeah, I do. I have a pretty a 4-level onboarding process to make sure that everybody's comfortable hosting an event. How do you make an event
Appealing
successful
and
and
successful and
successful
profitable, because
and
some
profitable?
guides are micro businesses.
Yes.
One of the things that I was so adamant about when we decided to get into guides and state chapters and hosting events, because it wasn't something I wanted to do. I really had to be talked into it, because a lot of the groups that I see doing this, they're for-profit groups, like Girl Camper's a business, it's for profit, but the events that they host are done by volunteers. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. I didn't want women out there volunteering their time and energy for a for-profit corporation,
Yeah.
you know? And so when somebody said to me, "Why don't you make it a micro business?" I thought, you're on. You're on. I mean, that was the deciding factor for me. So each one of our guides, I won't say they're rolling in money from the events, but like we like to say, it pays for your habit.
It pays for my habit. It pays for my habits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pays for my
So,
campsite or my
yeah.
gas or both or
Right. So there might be a small fee involved, or $5 or $10 extra on each one of the event attendees. And then the guide covers her gas and her time putting the whole thing together. And I think that's so important for people to understand that the guides are not volunteers.
yes.
So as you became the guide for Iowa, and then we siphoned you off to become the Girl Camper Guide Manager.
Yep.
So you read all the applications.
Yes.
And what are you looking for when you're reading an application?
I'm looking for passion. I'm looking for a passion for camping and a passion to help others. You have
Mhm.
to and like you said earlier, it's herding cats a
Yeah.
little bit. And it is a little bit kind of like herding cats, but it's so rewarding. There's
And
nothing more rewarding.
and when you're bringing on someone who's never gone camping before and they're going for the first time, in that very first time, you may get 20 messages from that
Yes.
person through instant message or online, or if they've got your email. And then the next time it's 2, and the next time they're answering questions
They're
for someone
answering
else.
somebody else's questions in the group. Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you're looking for passion from those
I'm
people.
looking for passion. I'm looking for a desire to serve others because
You're a mentor.
we're a mentor. We're helping others in something that they may not be comfortable in.
And that means
also,
they're just gonna be enjoying the camp out in the same way everybody else is. You've got duties to do. You clean up and put in the coffee.
that is a little bit of a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That sometimes everybody else is going off to go rafting, and you know what? I'm not comfortable going because I've got a couple people that are staying here, and I don't want them to be left alone.
And you're
So
probably
I stay home.
organizing the dinner.
Yes, and planning
Yeah.
dinner
Yeah.
or just enjoying a moment of quiet.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Maybe that's your respite
That's
while
my
everyone
respite.
goes off and does their thing. So you're looking for people willing to serve. You're looking for people with a passion. How important is it that people have experience working with groups?
I think we can teach that on a certain level. I think more than anything, I want somebody I really would prefer that somebody has been to at least one Girl Camper event or
Right.
a women's camping.
Yeah, you've got to know how they work.
Yes, and how they work and kind of what to expect. How can you plan an event if you've never been to an event?
But you know what I found myself, and I think women kind of do themselves a little bit of a disservice. I might have told this story on the podcast before, the old podcast 1.0. I remember when I first started Girl Camper, and I said to my daughter, I want to start, taking my passion for camping and somehow turning it into a business. And she said, "Well, Mom, that's a no-brainer." And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't had a job in so many years." And she said, "What are you talking about? You organized that whole thing for the PTA. You were a spokesperson for foster parenting. You volunteered at," and my daughter made me a skill set resume based on what she watched me do as a child and her, watching her mother. And now she's a grown woman in her corporate job in New York City. And she's like, "Mom, you got it down. I mean, you did this, 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 this." And it was a real confidence booster for me. So I think we all possess a lot more skills than we think we do.
Have you ever planned a birthday party? Then you can plan a camping event.
Yes.
A day hike. And that's something else that's important. Sometimes it's not just a full camping event. It could be I'm just planning a day hike or a or a trip to a winery or
Mhm.
for something. There's a lot of other things than just camping.
Tell us something about the girl camper guides we have on board right now. I mean, I look at them and I think we really run the gamut there, right? We've
Oh,
got professional women still working full time
Mhm,
who maybe plan 6 events a year.
mhm.
And not every single event is a camp out. And then we've got retired women who are gung ho. Tell us about your experience with the different aspects or where you are in the women are in their own lives when they take this on.
We have women in every point of life. What and like you said, somebody who's working full time,
Hmm.
it might be a little bit harder for them to plan a week long trip,
Hmm.
but they certainly can plan 6 weekend trip.
Hmm.
And then you've got somebody who's retired who can plan
Who wants
one
something every single month.
right. And you know what? If they've got the people in their chapter that are willing to go, then why not?
Well, let's talk for a minute about the girl camper hostesses. So our
Yes.
guides, we ideally we'd like to see people host at least 6 actual events, and we'll talk in a minute about our meet and greets, but 6 actual campouts per year. But we don't expect our guides to do 6 themselves because you are going to make friends in the girl camper
Hmm.
community, and we see this all the time. And we thought we got to harness that energy, right? Because you're sitting around the campfire, and what are we talking about? Hey, have you ever camped at such and such state park? Oh, no. Did you go to the Hungry Mother Park in Virginia? And everyone begins talking, and then, like, hey, would you like to host an event for us? So the guides can tap into people.
That's what I did
Mhm.
because I
You
I
work
have
full time.
I work full time. I have my own business, and then I took on the guide manager position, which meant I had less time to actually host events. And 3 of the ladies who had been camping with me from the beginning, they live in different parts of the state. She's like, "Hey," one of them's like, "Hey, I'll host an event on the western side of the
Mhm.
state," and oh, I live in the middle of the state. I'll host an event
Mhm.
there, and pretty soon they're hosting 3 or 4 events a year. I've only got to
Yeah.
worry about a couple more.
Yeah.
So.
So it's a way you can kind of grow your group and your
Mhm.
community there. But let's talk about our Seeds of Friendship event.
Yes.
I
Those
think
are
Sharon Cutburth, our Texas guide, came up with that idea and gave it the name.
is I didn't know where it came from,
Yeah.
but it is profound because they do it every month.
Once a month.
Once a month, they get together for dinner, and it's just a chance for everybody to you don't have to
Mm.
talk camping. Sometimes they talk about their husbands
Sometimes,
or
yeah,
their
it's a lot of,
children or
or
their
their rig, or their what they're buying, or their new piece of equipment.
Mhm.
So it's an opportunity for people to get together. I think the Seeds of Friendship thing are so important because if you've never been on a trip before, but you've put one on the docket, and you just go out and you meet everybody at Chili's, and everybody has a taco and a margarita, and you get to talk and you move around the table, you're going to feel much more comfortable when you get out there in the campground.
Yes, because you already know these folks.
And then you're on the Facebook group and you're like, oh, I met her. She sat next
Mhm.
to me at the dinner. And it's just a way of beginning that building of community. And so many of our guides have a Seeds of Friendship dinner at least once a month. I know they try to. In camping season, it falls off because we're
Because we're
camping
camping, but then as
in
soon
the
as winter
winter.
in the couple things happen in the winter, at least in the Midwest. A lot of the state parks do what they call first day hikes.
Mhm.
So we often do just a hike. We go out
Yeah,
to
in
breakfast.
January. Mhm.
Actually, we do the hike first, then we go out for brunch.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Nobody wants to hike in a full summer.
No, 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 no. And Carol, our New Jersey guide, does that every single New Year's Day, and it's always so much fun. So I would ask you at this point, Resa, to give your elevator pitch to someone who might have been thinking about how do I get more involved? I've got a little time. I've got this camping thing down. I'd like to see other women get involved. How can they reach out and become a guide?
Well, the easiest way is to go on the website. There is a place where you can, and maybe Lisa can put the link in the description of
Oh,
this
yeah,
video,
she'll put it in.
where you can actually go and click, and it gives you it asks you to fill out a couple little questions, and that gets sent directly to me, and then I will contact you and um, ask you some more questions about,
Mhm.
and they're questions about, well, what's your camping rig? What's your
Yeah.
how did you camp when you were a kid?
What do you
Where's
want
your
to bring to
favorite?
your
Yeah.
community?
What do where do you like to camp? How do you camp? Do
Mhm.
you camp in do you have multiple rigs? And then we'll talk a little bit more.
And you schedule a phone call.
A phone call, a Zoom. I prefer to do
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah, that's nicer.
We
Yeah.
we do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Do a kind of an information session.
And then you
talk
bring
about-
them to me and say, she passes muster. This
Mhm.
is this she's our people. So, well, and the other thing about it is, so we've got those girl camper guides, but we never want people to just lose their enthusiasm for going on girl camper events too. And we count heavily on the girl camper guides to get those done
Yes.
and get those out there. So we encourage you to get on the girl camper website, go to events, go to the girl camper guide, shoot Resa an email if this is something that interests you. If you're not yet there, go on a girl camper trip and see what's involved. And even if you never become a guide, get out there on a trip and bring a girlfriend along.
Perfect. The more the merrier.
Yes. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. And we have a Facebook group. Find the Girl Camper /Iowa, whatever state you're in. Find our Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram. Download the podcast. Just get involved with Girl Camper. That's our show for today. Resa, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming to the campground with me. This has been so much fun.
This is the furthest I've ever pulled a camper. So
Oh, you're growing. You're growing. Yeah. And you're pretty far from home.
yes, I
And
am.
you're still going to North Carolina.
Yes.
You're
yes.
about many-
I going down to Virginia, Shenandoah National Park. Yeah.
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's our show for today, everybody. Happy trails.
Happy trails.